Okay, I have to go to school in 10 minutes, so I'm going to make this video super fast. And maybe I'll get it uploaded, maybe not. Here we go. Basically, I was talking about how basically everything is, like, all that we know, all the information we have are symbols, and they are, like, a word is a symbol for, like, an emotion. Like, if you want something, want is a symbol for that. There's no word for it, really. I mean, not literally. I mean, there is a word for it, but it's a symbol. That's all it is. It points to the feeling or the need or the instinct. Like, that's all words are. And it applies to kind of everything, though. Just, like, even with science, like, all of these different forces, they are words describing something. And just kind of how all of those words are put together, it kind of makes up the framework from how you view the world and how you view the universe with certain physics, like physics laws. And, like, there's actually things that may say that gravity isn't even real, and, like, it's electromagnetism that kind of powers everything. I think it was electromagnetism. But basically, we just have symbols for things, and that's how a lot of religions started. Basically, what happened is back in the day, back in antiquity, I think it was antiquity, but they had different, you had different little villages and places all over the place, and basically when someone got inducted into that society or into that village, they would be brought up in the teachings of that village, and they would have their own explanations for things. And basically, humans are creatures that need to see to believe, and they need to, it's like it's hard to see the invisible force behind something. Like, values are invisible, and virtues, and, like, those things you can't see, but you know they exist. And that is one thing I think science is kind of, it can't handle. It can't handle the unseen, because the only thing science can do is measure. And there's a whole nother, it misses out on so much other information because it's not measurable. But yeah, basically, all these things that are unseen, they give them their stories behind, like, them, and they put faces to them. That's why a lot of the Greek gods were all based on different aspects of humans. Like Aphrodite was supposed to be super sexy. I think I don't remember any other ones right now. But yeah, basically, like, every religion had their own symbols for those basic forces in humanity. And a lot of it too goes back to, like, even a lot of things in the Christian Bible, people don't realize that a lot of the stories are actually based off of, you know, like, things out in outer space. Like, I think it's like Astro-theology. But yeah, they're just basically stories about, like, certain constellations moving in certain ways. Because I think it's weird. Like, try this. Like, if you just draw a circle and then you draw, like, the whole Star of David thing, count, like, I was bored the other day at work. But yeah, count all the I think it's apexes and vertices. I don't know. I haven't been in math in a while. But yeah, just count all the points, and then you count all of this part, and then you count that part. And basically there are 12 of them. Well, it's like 1 through 12, just like how it is on the clock. And you realize that there's 12 constellations, and you realize that there's 12 months, and you realize that, like, this number 12 is everywhere. And it's like this number is embedded in our society, and it's embedded in nature. But I think it was embedded in nature first and then transferred over to society. And I think that's why a lot of religious texts do hold a lot of truths, is because they draw upon reality. But I think a lot of times religious texts are taken too literally. And but yeah, it's also weird too, because there's, like, 12 disciples, and then, like, the son's supposed to be in the middle, son of God, whatever. And it's just really crazy. And also people think, like, the middle could be like the black hole that I was talking about for, like, the universe. Just how existence needs not existence to exist, to have meaning and definition. So yeah, basically, just I would take a closer look at the world around you, and all these stories you hear, and all these, religions, and all these, you know, things that you see, and all, even people, because a lot of times people, they get turned into symbols, like a lot of politicians do, and a lot of just anybody. Like, I think a lot of time what happens is the powers that be that govern pretty much everything, they'll take someone and usually they martyr them. It's been going on for a really long time. I mean, just look at Jesus, dude. If he was real, but there's stories of Jesus that date back thousands of years. But anyway, he was martyred, and then he becomes a symbol that people worship. Martin Luther King was martyred. John Lennon was martyred. John F. Kennedy was martyred. Abraham Lincoln was martyred. Just all these people are martyred, and they want peace and they want a world that is free of corruption and control, and they get killed for it. But ironically, they become the heroes and they're martyred, and they're almost kind of borderline worshipped, and they become a symbol for something. So yeah, I just think it's always weird. I would always look behind the symbol and see what it really means. And I think that's what's really cool about being an INTP, is because I think that ability comes natural. Seeing the unseen, that more than anything is an INTP, seeing the unseen. And I think that is our biggest strength, and I think that's why we are often called crazy. And like, yeah, and when we have all these hunches, we have all these, like, we know something is how it is, and we know the truth, but it's like, if people can't visually see it, then they can't give it credit. And that's what I think is wrong with science too, because science in itself has become a new religion. It is something that people focus on, and they are missing out. Like, there could be, like, people who are atheist are stupid and they're not logical, and people who are sure that God, if there is a God, is something exactly like what was written in some text, they're dumb too. People who are definitely sure about that kind of stuff are dumb because they're accepting things without logical reasoning. I do think that behind the universe there is some kind of intelligence, and I actually got to that point by like going into science. So that's like, it would take too long to explain here. But basically I used to be like a hardcore, well, I used to be a Christian. I wasn't a hardcore Christian, but I kind of hated Christianity for a really long time. But I think hating it kind of made me in the shape of it, because like when you hate something, you kind of become anti-it, so it kind of distorts your view still because you're more prejudiced towards that kind of idea. But yeah, I think coming to terms with that, it made me see kind of more of a middle ground, but it's not a middle ground based on my perceptions from before. It's a middle ground based on the truth that I see behind things. Because I think that's the one thing, if I had to say I followed one thing and I served one thing, it would be truth. Because if you serve the truth truth will serve you, and there's really nothing else to serve. So, and I'm going to be late for school, so that's my video for today.